So, hi Elementor fans, I'm here with the one and only Neil Patel. Now, in case you don't know Neil Patel, you must be living in an island somewhere that has no internet because he's the founder of KissMetrics, QuickSprout, neilpatel.com, CrazyEgg, and I mean, the list goes on and on. Marketing School is the latest thing, I think. All of these businesses hugely successful. So it's a great privilege to talk with you, Neil, today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So basically, I've known your work for long before I even started working with Elementor. I think it was 2009, 2008 when I first read your marketing articles, and they've had a great influence on me. So I thought how to start this interview to, first of all, get as much information for myself and also for all the listeners. So what intrigued me to begin with was like, you're everywhere. I mean, in video and podcasts and all the businesses. And I was wondering, what are your favorite channels? And why? What's the reason?
What do you mean favorite channels? Like for marketing?
Yeah.
It varies. I don't think that there is one better channel than the other. I think it varies by what are you naturally good at or what do you prefer. Some people like Gary Vaynerchuk are better at video than he is at content marketing. I'm better at content marketing than I am at video. Some people like Tim Ferriss, he's better at, let's say, podcasting than maybe I am, right? So it's like everyone has their own things on what they're good or what they're not good at. That's what you should focus on, right? It ends up coming down to, doing what you're best at and then going from there.
So like your niche that you've honed for the last a lot of years now is content marketing, but that's a big bucket. So how do you stay on top of all the, changing technologies and changing channels?
Yeah, you keep reading, you learn more, you test. There's no real other way. You network, you talk to people.
So that brings me to another question is like, okay, you have a lot of startups and you also do content. So how do you balance between those two things, like managing and doing actual work and doing more tutorial explaining things?
So you're saying, how do I manage between creating the content and my work?
Yeah.
My work is marketing. So for me, it's the same.
What I mean as an example is your podcast marketing school. It's like every day you give away all the secrets.
Yeah, but we record it in batches. So we'll record 20 in one day.
That's smart. That's a good tip. I'll remember that.
So that helps. And then we usually do it over 2 days in a row, and we'll crank out 40 in a weekend.
Do these topics these 20 all revolve around a certain subject, or they're just like very according to, keyword research?
No, just anything that we think would be interesting.
Recently, what do you think is now emerging and interesting in the recent updates and changes on the web?
The big thing that I think a lot of businesses aren't focusing on, and it's old, but they still don't, is branding. I think it's priceless. And I'm waiting for a lot of online businesses to focus on it. Like if you look at Nike, they're everywhere. They're everywhere because they know it helps them. They're not everywhere because they're like, oh, is this TV commercial making us more money? They believe if you continually just do TV commercials, radio ads, sponsor everything, eventually everyone will see you and people will buy your product. I think it's priceless, and it's something that a lot of people take for granted.
And do you think, is there a difference between like branding a brand like Coca-Cola or Nike to self-branding? Like,
it's very similar. You have to provide value, create a story, emotional connection. Yeah, there's not much difference from what we're seeing.
I think for me personally, it's also a very interesting topic. I think that our viewers also are interested in everything that has to do with self-branding, because a lot of them are freelancers, they're making websites, and they want to get their name out, like
Yes.
their brand, their reputation and trust. So what are like points that has worked for you that you can, do you think are like best practices?
Sure. Focus on one marketing channel at a time. It could be content marketing, it could be podcasting, it could be SEO. You pick one. 2, do it for a while, get good at it. 3, then expand into multiple channels. 4, focus on branding your company or yourself as an authority. You can do interviews, you can do podcasts, you can speak at conferences, you can pick your poison. But if you follow those, after like a year or 2, you'll see that your brand will grow.
So let me get it straight. So you start off with a great focus, and I agree that's a huge thing. Like, let's say you decide that every week you put out 2 blog posts.
Yeah.
That are like long form blog posts. So how do you? Okay, so that takes a chunk of your time. How do you escalate it later to like something that also?
Well, as you grow, you can hire people to help out, but that's why you start off focusing on one.
I saw a video that you made, which also I really liked, and I saw it, I think 2 years ago. It was from a conference about growth hacking. And
Vienna.
I don't know the place, but you mentioned the Dropbox and how they escalated. That was a great video, first of all.
Thank you.
And is your opinion of growth hacking the same now, or has something changed? And also, can you explain a bit what it is for our viewers, like what it means?
Yeah, it's, I think it is changing, it's evolving, but growth hacking is using all departments in the organization to help grow the business. So it's not just marketing, it could be product, it could be sales, it could be design, it could be engineering. And the key is to get creative on how you grow. It could be referral programs, it could be SEO, it could be, numerous strategies, it could be affiliate programs, it could be just focusing on conversion optimization. But the big thing about growth hacking is most people aren't focusing on being super creative, and that's a great way to grow, right? And that's why growth hacking does so well, is being super creative.
Okay, but eventually, what does it mean? Action-wise, what is the difference between like just doing a regular, PPC campaign and a growth hacking, like something that would scale?
PPC can be part of growth hacking. There's no difference there. The big changes in growth hacking, it's about creativity. It's about modifying the whole product, organization working as one to grow, instead of just saying, hey, marketing, you just drive traffic, and design, you just make it look pretty. It's everyone having the same goal. Design and marketing can combine and say, hey, how do we get more visitors to convert into customers? Engineering can help say, hey, let's modify the onboarding flow of the product or service so that way it can be usable and we get more people to use it versus bouncing away.
So like if you get you have a support department, you can use the questions that they get to like leverage it and maybe create tutorials from it, etc. And this.
That's correct.
Okay, cool. And like what kind of examples have you seen of businesses that that you like personally, had involvement in? I know you had the cool project of growing from $0 to $100,000.
Yeah, I don't do too much consulting, so I don't get involved in too many projects. But like, if you look at a lot of companies who've grown fast, from Dropbox to Slack to Evernote, right? They're all leveraging a lot of these tactics.
One of the strategies that was fairly big, I think 2 years ago, was everybody was talking about the 10x the content, 10x content. But the problem is like, okay, now a lot of people 10x. So you see a lot of articles that are, 3,000 words, and there are really a lot of graphics and screenshots. So how do you continue to 10x today when you get such a competition?
So you do that, and then you make 10 times of those content pieces.
Okay.
So if it's now longer and 3,000 words with more images, instead of writing one a day, you write 10 a day.
And this you do with outsourcing and, of course.
Yeah, you can hire editors, outsource. You can do whatever you want to scale your business.
So one of the things that I think about growth hacking, for us at least, is that when we developed and marketed Elementor, we went to the global market. And I think this really helps because there's a lot less competition in other countries than in the US. And I think a lot of new businesses just focus on, the top countries, US, UK, and they miss out on a lot of business opportunities. So have you seen surprises in those fields? I know you also have a focus on global marketing.
Yeah. It's, as a company, what you have to worry about is it's not about the details. It's not about global marketing. It's not about strategy. It's not about any of that. What you need to figure out is what are you good at and how can you just scale that, and then later on you can expand. I think people think about this stuff too much. I think they're trying too many different tactics. I think they're worrying about their competitors too much instead of just focusing on what they're amazing at.
So in that respect, if you have a business, an existing business, that they have their clients that, take their time and they have their tasks, and they have, a mediocre income, but they want to scale it. So I think it's interesting to ask, what would you recommend, best practices for leveraging an existing business that is stalling?
Yeah, well, you have to look at your funnel. So look at where the drop-off is and why is it stalling, and that's the area you should focus on first. For example, if everyone's dropping off on your homepage because they don't understand the product or service, then you fix the homepage. If everyone's dropping off on your checkout page because they don't like something there, then you figure out what's wrong with your checkout page and you fix it. You can survey people, figure out what's wrong, you can look at the analytics, and then you can make your test from there.
Okay, that makes sense. Also, how do you do the balance between you focus on this? This was a huge challenge for me, understanding how do you split the pie between the content you're creating, the outreach you're doing, and the PPC, the ads you're doing. So how do you know the right balance?
You don't worry about the right balance. You worry about what's working, and then whatever's working, you do more of it. Whatever's not working, you stop doing it.
Okay, adaptive, agile approach. I like it. So what's your biggest, it's not easy to ask, but your biggest failure? Like you said, I was wrong here.
I have a lot of them, but my biggest thing, forget what biggest failure was because people can't learn from that. Let's talk about why I failed. And one of the biggest reasons on why I fail, and I have so many times, is distractions. I don't focus. Focus on one thing and do it right, and you will grow.
We have a saying in our company, buy the book, do it. Don't skip any steps.
Yeah, we look at it as more like instead of trying to do too many businesses or trying to do too many things to grow, just pick one and then just be the best at it.
Yeah. But when you reach the success, I think you're it's fair to say that you're one of the, top marketers in the world today, easily top 3. So when you reach this success, how do you, and I have to be modest, our plugin also is one of the top in WordPress. So how do you go to the next level? How do you keep on challenging yourself?
Self-motivation. There's nothing to challenge. It's the drive within you. You'll either want to do it or you won't, right? You don't have to continue to challenge yourself. You'll want to naturally be better, progress. If you're not, then you should find a different industry to be in.
And what challenges you today?
My challenges is growing and being bigger than my competitors. It's very hard. I'm trying to figure out how to be 10x the size, right? It's not easy.
I saw that recently you've done a lot of, you've started doing video. So can you tell a bit about, I think it's lately, I think it's the last year or something.
Yeah.
So how can you explain a bit about what are your impressions of this field? Because I think for us it was amazing.
I love it. I do videos to connect more with my readers and other people out there. But I love it. I want to do more and more videos.
Yeah, like YouTube is a huge channel that,
Huge.
yeah, for us, we did like, that was one of the biggest leaps that we had in marketing when one of our videos became like viral and we got
Yeah.
a lot of subscribers from it. And it was just a 10-minute video that didn't take us too much to make.
Yep.
And this leads me to like another topic, that like risk taking in marketing. So as marketers, we of course have risks, like when you create a campaign or anything you do actually is a risk. Can you share like some of the risks that you've recently done or tried, you know?
Yeah, I've tried expanding internationally when I don't speak the language, which is hard. It's not easy. I've tried doing things like reshifting products where you're going from paid to try to build a free version and cut off your revenue stream. But yeah, I'm testing a lot of stuff that is always tough decisions.
And do you have like a focus now in your own, I mean, because
I
you
do. My
have
focus is traffic generation. That's all I do every day. I figure out how to get more traffic. I do nothing else.
cross channels.
All channels, yes. Free, paid, everything.
Okay, and I want to ask you a question that was related also to our product. You know, we have a page builder that people seem to like, and I wanted to know, like, what are your thoughts on page building and on landing pages and how they?
Yeah, everyone should have landing pages because you can end up optimizing your conversions more by sending people to specific pages. And why would you pay designers or developers to create them when you can just use tools to make them really fast? It's
Yes.
cheaper, quicker, and you'll find out what works. And then if it works, you can keep editing and testing and changing things up.
I want to ask you one final question about, like, a lot of our users are freelance designers. So if I'm a freelance designer, how would you like recommend starting off? And I don't know what I'm good at yet. I know I'm good at designing. How would you recommend like start building my business right in terms of conversions and in terms of gaining my audience and subscribers, etc.?
So you're saying, how would you start off with building your audience and subscribers and following?
Yeah.
Well, you focus on one channel. You pick either videos, podcasting, or content. You start with there. You increase your content production in any of those channels, and you wait 6 months to a year, and you'll start building up a following. Whatever content you create, promote it on your social profiles. Ask other people within your space to promote it, and over time, you'll build up an audience.
You have one strategy that says like, you know, post every week and as much as you can. And you have like Brian Dean who recommends like, no, you can have 16 videos and just make them top notch. And that's the
No
way.
one works. You just have to figure out what's right for you. I prefer daily. Brian prefers maybe monthly. Both strategies work. He's successful. I've done okay. But you have to figure out what's right for you.
Okay, Neil. So thank you for doing this interview. It was really fun talking to you.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we'll talk in the future.
Perfect. Take care.
Bye bye.